Okay, on the second Mishnah in Perek HaMiniach, we learned that if Reuven is walking in Rosh Hashanah and he drops his kad means pitcher, and the pitcher breaks and the water that was inside it spills. So we learned that if someone slips in that water, according to the Tanakama, which is Reb Meir, um, the owner of the water, the owner of the kad, is going to be chayiv. Okay, in the Gemara it says, Amar Rav Yehuda Amar Rav. Rav Yehuda says in the name of Rav, Leishanu, Leishanu, let's do underline Leishanu. I'll put on the side that Leishanu is actually a Gemara term for what the Mishnah would call Bameh Devarim Amurim. Like, when are these words said? That's an abbreviation for Bameh Devarim Amurim. So that's Leishanu. Leishanu, which means when did we learn this? Or actually, literally, we did not learn this, Ella only. Shetinfu Kelev B'mayim. We only learned that the person, Ruvain, who owns this pitcher and water, it would only be chayiv for damages on the clothing. The clothing gets dirty. Tinfu means dirty. Kelev, the clothing, it means literally vessels in the water. Okay, it's difficult for me to get to the next page, so I'll just tell you what the Gemara says. However, on the person himself, then you would not have to pay. Okay, so we'll learn this in the Rashi, and then I'll explain to you on these diagrams that we have here. Just zoom into the Rashi. Um, let's go up. Okay. So Rashi says, on Ela shetinfu kelev b'mayim, Rashi says, Ela, I put in the words only, if his made dirty his clothing in the water. That's when you would be chayiv. The Rav, because Rav Muki means establishes or sets up, Lemasnisin, our Mishnah, Kishaloi hifkiras meimav, when the water is not made ownerless. It means the person, for some reason, still wants to come back in to take his water. So he actually owns the water that's sitting there on the floor in the puddle. Hilkach, therefore, nimtza, we find, shenizoiku kelev shel zeh, that this person's clothing got damaged. Nizoiku is got damaged. Kelev, the clothing shel zeh of this person, b'mamayne shel zeh, in the money of this person. And it's like this person's ox. So what does it mean, his ox? That means if he would have an ox that would go and tear his clothing or trample on his clothing, you would have to pay for that. So here he has a puddle which is similar to his ox because he owns both of them, and therefore you have to pay for it. What the point over here is that it's not a bar, it's not a pit in Rosh Hashanah, it's his ox in Rosh Hashanah, and I'll show you what the difference is. We'll go back down to those diagrams. Let's see. Okay. It goes like this. If you have a bar, I wrote over here bar. If you have a bar and an ox or a donkey falls in, so you're chayiv, you have to pay for that. You dug a bar, let's say in Rosh Hashanah, and you can do a street over here, right? A street. And let's try to make a little pit. You dug a little pit right over there. Okay, and an ox falls in. We'll try to make a head over there. No, it's a little small. That's the. Okay, the ox fell in, and it died. So you would have to pay for it. However, we learned from a pasuk that you don't have to pay if a person falls in and dies, God forbid, or if vessels break. So let's do it right over there. Putter means you don't have to pay. You're exempt from payment. Only if an ox falls in do you have to pay. It's a limud from the pasuk. We'll learn it on the next page in the Gemara. However, if this pit, let's say, would not be a bar, it would go under the category of a shar. For example, if you own, in our case, we had a little puddle. Let's say it's a puddle, which could be a considered a bar. It's similar. It's a type of damage in the Rosh Hashanah, or it could be that you own it. So if it's considered a shar, then of course you'd be chayiv if an ox or a donkey gets hurt in there. But the chiddush is that you'd also be chayiv if a man or kalim, if they die or break. Here you'd be chayiv. Okay, so what we learned in Rashi was that since the person owns the water that is owned, make it dark. Since the person owns that puddle and the kalim get ruined, so that's why you're going to be chayev on those kalim. Kalim could mean vessels or clothing. And in other words, don't view it as a bar. Why don't you view it as a bar? Because he never made the water ownerless. Okay, now we didn't read the other Gemara inside. I'll write it over here. Aval, the Gemara says, Hu atzmai pater. Hu atzmai is referring to if the person himself gets hurt, then you'd be pater. And the Gemara says, my taima. It says karka oilam. It says his zikasu. That means damaged him. If he himself is hurt, then you would be pater. So it's really interesting over here. When we're dealing with the clothing, we considered it a shar. When we deal with the person, we're not going to consider it a shar, and I'll show you why. There's another machlokes between Rav and Shmuel concerning when the Torah says you're chayev on a bar. I guess the first thing you should know is that when a person gets hurt, he doesn't get hurt from water. He gets hurt from the ground itself. Now, there's a machlokes between Rav and Shmuel. When the Torah says you're chayev on a bar, see that bar? There's a question: how the damage takes place. When is the Torah saying that you're chayev? So let's do Shmuel first. Shmuel says that if the animal suffocates in that pit and dies, then you're going to be chayev. Shmuel also says that if the animal dies from the crush, from the impact, it's called chabata, then you'd also be chayev. It doesn't matter what exactly caused the damage, whether it's the lack of air or the bad air that's in there. The bad air is called hevel. Hevel is like used for hot air. Maybe it's like causes suffocation or something. So Shmuel says it doesn't matter what causes the death. You're always going to be chayev. Rav says you're only going to be chayev if it's the bad air. But however, if it's the impact, then you're going to be pater. The reason why Rav says that is because you didn't put the ground there. This is the interesting thing. The only thing that you made was the vacant space, the hollow space that the animal could fall in and suffocate. But the impact, the ground was always there. You removed some ground, and therefore it can now fall. But you didn't put the ground there. So therefore, Rav would hold that you're going to be pater on that. So obviously, this is a case of a bar. There's 2 points here. You don't own the ground, but so therefore it can't be a shar. This is also a case of a bar. You don't own this ground, so that even if it's, let's talk about our puddle now. In the puddle, the clothing can get dirty from water, but a person would get hurt from the ground. So the ground cannot be a shar because you don't own the ground, you only own the water. So it can only be a bar. If it's a bar, then Rav holds that you're pater on the impact. Okay, we're going to have to turn the page, but that we'll do in another lesson. Okay. Yeah, just to summarize, Rav would say that you're only chayev for dirty kalim, but you're going to be pater on if the person gets damaged. And we explained why. You're chayev for the kalim because it's considered a shar, because the water you own, and it's considered as if your ox caused damage, it's your money. The reason why you're pater if the person gets damaged is because, first of all, you don't own the ground, so therefore it's not a shar, it's only a bar. And second of all, a bar you're only chayev for the bad air, not for the impact. But the person got hurt here on the impact.